What's up, guys? It is
What's up, guys?
Soleb back again for another episode. We are back after a few weeks of not having a podcast. We've all been crazy busy, and at some point in time, I don't know when, but we slipped. Like I slipped up, and I guess I accidentally skipped ahead a number instead of going to like 334 or 333. I went to 334. I don't know what happened, but
He's like,
I'm not
I slipped
fixing
up, got a girl pregnant. I'm like, what?
it. I'm like, you're like, what's your name? I'm like, it's my wife. You're like, okay. I'm like, it's over, bro. So this show is back again, and in this episode, we're going to be talking about Black Ops 6, Metal Gear Solid Delta, Xbox exclusives, and much more. I am joined.
We have those?
Yeah. That's the topic of discussion.
I'll be damn.
We are joined by the co-host Bolts. What's up, man? How you doing?
What's up, bro?
I like that Kirby shirt. Also joined by the one and only Toaster McGee. Hello, Toaster. How are you?
Good. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah, we hear you.
It's just the way you said it. You're like, yeah.
Oh, like my headphones are being stupid again. Like I don't know.
Good. I'm good.
Good.
Oh man.
We're
So
all fine here. It's fine.
everything's fine.
How are you?
I'm all right. You're like,
Who is
okay.
this? Boring conversation anyway.
Talk to you later. I'm like, damn. So yeah, we're back again for another episode. We got some great stuff to talk about today. But before anything, we're going to talk about what have you been gaming. So Bolts, since you had a controller in your hand, we're going to go with you first. What you been gaming, man?
Yeah, for real. Man, a little bit of everything, bro. I took a break on my PS5 because after I finished the first God of War, I jumped right into Ragnarok, so I kind of get burnt down on a little bit.
Gotcha.
But I've played some Mafia. I've played some Sniper Elite. I'm back on Borderlands 2 because I had to get the taste of that movie out of my mouth.
Understandable.
College football, Call of Duty. I jumped back on Elder Scrolls Legends the other day.
Did you really?
Yeah, bro.
Man.
Listen. I need Bethesda and Microsoft to do something, and I don't know what else they can do, but it's such a great card game.
What are you talking about?
Great.
Dude, just hear me out.
What?
Hear me out. Elder Scrolls versus like WoW in like a card-based game. Or bro, hey, they have Hearthstone, man. They can have like Elder Scrolls packs.
I know, bro. I know, and there's just so many card games out there to compete with. But Elder Scrolls was so good. It was so simple to just pick up and play, and it's so good. I love
Legends. Was a really good game. Legends was a really good. I was very sad. Bolts was so pissed off when he found out the news. They were like, "We're no longer supporting Legends." He was like, "What the fuck? Why?"
It's truly a great card-based game, and I was depressed as hell.
I think the one card-based game that I liked as much as that was Hearthstone. Especially when I had my all-in-one like touch HP screen, like I would like bring it down to my stomach and like just sit there and play it for hours. But anything else?
Man, not really, dude. Gearing up, got fantasy football all over the place right now. Because the season starts next Thursday. So I had one draft last weekend. I've got another one this week and another one on Monday. So man, just gearing up for that, bro.
Awesome. What about you, Toaster? I can guess what you've been playing, but you tell everyone what you've been playing.
Code Simulator.
Oh,
Go
okay.
Simulator.
No, I mean, come on. World of Warcraft, the War Within. That is what I've been doing. Running around as a druid named Onoa Bear.
Oh no, a bear. Hey, so
Because
how many hours do you think you've already put in it since it launched?
Like 3.5.
definitely a lot.
Yeah, many
I would
hours.
say probably about 20 hours so far.
Okay, cool, awesome.
Um,
And you're well. We're not going to talk about if you're liking it just yet, outside of just kind of briefly. But I want you to talk about that whenever we talk about our topic later. So.
yeah, I mean,
So shut the fuck up. Don't say anything else about it. No, I'm just kidding.
it's all right.
It's all right.
It's okay. But I've been rocking a Necromancer in the new season of Diablo 4 while I wait for Vessel of Hatred to drop. And been taking my time with some Dead Space remake because that game is just fucking amazing.
So good, man. God, it's so good. Jesus Christ, it's such a good
game. It's such a different vibe to play through it like the 9th or 10th time.
Yeah.
And compared to the first time when you're literally shitting your pants because you see this thing come darting around the corner and you're like, all I can take is that fucking right. And that's where that thing came from. I'm going to die.
Yeah.
And then you come around the corner and nothing's there. Or you've got one of the harder hunters coming after you. Now when you're in your 10th time, you're pretty much like fucking Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible now. You're like, oh yeah, fuck your knees. Dink dink, you're dead. Get the fuck out of here.
Get out of here, motherfucker. I knew you were there, but it scared me.
Heather looks over every once in a while or my wife looks over every once in a while and she's like, how are you not freaking? I'm like, oh, that's Dave. He's dead. It's fine.
I'll tell you one scene that's creeped me out so much when the game first originally launched is when you go to the hallway and that guy's just slamming his head into the wall.
Oh yeah, that one's messed up.
I was like, nuh-uh.
Or the surgeon that kills the dude, then turns around and looks out at you while you're walking into the trauma unit and slits her own throat.
Oh God, bro, yes.
Yeah, that one.
Yes.
But none of those top. And Dead Space 3 does not get nearly the credit it deserves for creepy factor.
I agree with that.
If you remember, you get up on Dead Space's version of Hoth. It's the planet where they found the first marker.
Yeah.
And as you're walking through the abandoned military encampment and you start to take in more and more of the surroundings and actually start paying attention to the audio blurbs in the background, you realize, holy shit, these soldiers were all being indoctrinated to kill themselves and do it happily.
Yeah. It's going to be okay.
When all of that hit me at the same time, I was just kind of what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, bro. I loved it, and and I love Dead Space so much. I remember when Visceral worked, of course EA owned Visceral, but when Visceral worked directly with DICE, and what was it? Battlefield Hardline came out, and there was this special map, and they were like, if fans of another EA series will notice, there's a couple of call outs to a certain game in this upcoming map. And I'm running around. It's Hardline was cops versus robbers. So I'm running around and shit. And I run into the middle of this town. And there's a fucking marker in the town. And I was like, holy shit.
I gotta leave.
It's time to go.
I'm not hanging around here. No.
Oh man.
I mean, they did that. They did it with the Dead Space had the Dragon Age crossover.
Yes.
With the blood armor.
Yeah, man. That was
me and Dunny. We were joking around for a while and making we had this Tumblr going on. We made that shit up.
Yeah.
and we were like talking about how if Dragon Age existed in the same universe as Dead Space, then that would mean so does Mass Effect.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and like
that's where the Geth
like Isaac Clarke is actually a descendant of Shepard from like when they reset everything.
Oh, bro, listen.
Where the marker was actually put there by Reapers.
that's how they decided to take down the human race. Well, gaming wise, I've been gaming a lot. I've been my review for Gundam Breaker 4 comes out tonight. Listen, I've not played a Gundam game, and I cannot tell you how long. But the story is so confusing to me, but the gameplay is so like amazingly great. Like if a hack and slash craziness, you can build your own Gundam. And as a young, like whenever I was like 7 or 8, I did something for my dad and I got some money and I went to the store and I remember seeing Gundam figurines there and I was like, those are cool. I'm going to buy those. And I bought them and I realized that there was, the whole Gundam anime series and all that. So I would like go outside and like set them up in the sand. Of course, this was in Grapeland, a small town, but I'd set them up in the sand and I'd have this disposable camera and I would like take pictures of the Gundams. And then I realized afterwards, like now, like that's such a big thing. All these people take pictures of like certain figurines and do all this explosion and stuff. Well, that's a feature that's actually in the game, is that as you face off against these different Gundams and different people, it's really weird to explain the story, but it's basically like you're playing a character that is playing a online game called Gunpla. It's like Gunpla Breakers. And I was like, is that a misspell? Like, does that say Gunpla? But so like the drama in the game is like this guy that you meet up with and he becomes part of your team. He gets in, like you jump into an online battle and one of the guys you're facing off against is a dude that like bullies him at high school. And he's like, why are you even playing this game? I was like, wait a second. This is the drama. This is the drama. This is the storyline. But what's cool is like, if you take on these really big boss characters and some of these other characters, you can actually get their items from their Gundams and create your own Gundam however you want to. Like you can add all different types of parts, no matter what, and then you can merge them all together, higher level guns and sabers and all kinds of stuff. So be on the lookout for that. My review is going to launch tonight. I had to cough really loud. Jesus Christ.
Jeez, bro.
But also, as I told them, randomly by luck, I was able to get a copy of Black Myth Wukong, and holy fuck, that game is great, bro. Oh my God. I was playing that earlier. It's a really, really good game. If you get a chance to check it out, you definitely need to. And something else that I've been playing is Star Wars Outlaws. I've had a lot of fun with that game so far. Jordan's review is in progress right now. But I'm loving what I'm seeing. I mean, visually it's great. There's actually what is the aspect ratio? It's not 16:9, it's like 21:6, I think, right? It's like a cinematic rectangle. Anyways, you could change it to that on the game to give it more of a like cinematic look. And at first I was like, nah, I'm not going to do that. But then afterwards, when I actually set it up to have that aspect ratio, it gave the game a much different feel. Like it felt way more cinematic. And with me playing on performance mode, to have better frame rate, I think that overall it really intensified the cinematic feel of the game. Like I was really honestly shocked by it. So there's some things that I can say that have kind of thrown me off about the game so far. That it is a lot more stealth based. than what it seemed, even than what I played at Summer Game Fest. And sometimes the stealth is like, it's like you have to sneak through a certain area. But when you're sneaking through that certain area, it's like the way the level is laid out, you're like, how the fuck am I going to do this? Like you're in this grass. You're not, a member of the Creed. You know what I'm saying? You're not able to like blend into the grass and shit. So like Kay is like walking through the grass and she's like, and I'm sitting there thinking, how the fuck do they not see her, bro? Like, come on, man. But outside of that, I have enjoyed my time with it. And lastly, I've been playing Minecraft with Dante. And he is.
Listen, I don't mean, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I mean, that was Aaron's first game that he ever played. And it's such a great, simplistic game design for them to jump into and just learn how to do shit. It's so great, man.
Dude,
so
it's
great.
Nuts. Like, he was telling me all this stuff, and he was like, I saw on YouTube this guy made a demon, and he used this stuff that's like sand, and it has like a ghost in it or something like that. And I was like, you mean like soul sand? And he's like, yeah, soul sand. So we put like these blocks of soul sand, and then we put a whispering skull on it 3 times in 3 different sections, and it turns into this fucking thing and starts spinning around and flying and shooting balls of fire. And I'm like, what the fuck? And he was like, oh my God, it worked. But it's just crazy, man. He's really been playing that game a lot recently. Amara has not been playing any games. She's just been doing stop motion. So I don't know what's been up with that, but she's been super into it. So video games coming soon. We got some video games coming soon that I am fairly excited for. First up, we got Harry Potter Quidditch Championship, and that's exactly what you think it is. It is a player versus player Quidditch game that's coming to Xbox, PlayStation, PC, and Switch on September 3rd. And then we got something that I'm very excited for, Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2. So if you like hack and slash, over-the-top action adventure games, this is going to be the game for you. It comes out for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PC on September 9th. And then something that I hope to use a lot of time playing is Elder Scrolls Castles, which comes out on iOS and Android September 10th. It's pretty much like Fallout. What was it? I can't remember the name of it.
Fallout Shelter?
Fallout Shelter. It's pretty much Fallout Shelter. Jeez. It's pretty much Fallout Shelter set in the Elder Scrolls universe. You can build castles, take care of a bunch of different, characters and stuff in the Elder Scrolls universe. Then we got Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster, which comes out for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC September 18th. And then lastly, we have Disney Epic Mickey Rebrushed coming out to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Switch, and PC September 24th. Now, there are other games that are coming out, but I went through these lists of things. I'm like, what the fuck is this? What is this? What is this? And I don't know a lot of them, but if there is something that we miss, let us know on the show's either YouTube page or on SentinelLeaks.com or on social media. Let us know if there's a certain game that you think that we should check out, and we'll check it out in the next episode, next time around. So I will say, too, speaking of Disney Epic Mickey Rebrushed, THQ actually dropped a trailer today announcing that the game now officially has a demo on PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam. So if you want to check the game out before its release in September, head on to the Xbox Store or the PlayStation Store or the Steam Store and download it now. You can check out gameplay on SentinelLeaks.com tomorrow morning. So first and foremost, the big topic at hand. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater gets an encouraging update. The Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater release date will be announced before the end of the year, Sony has revealed. This turn of events serves as an encouraging update that suggests the Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater remake may be on course to hit its tentative release window. This game news is sourced by Game Rants. So, Metal Gear Solid. Where did Toaster go? PCX where? Oh, okay. God. I come back, I'm like, oh, Toaster's gone. Bolts is like, you're not even paying attention, are you? You piece of shit.
Who, me? Yes, I am.
No, me. I'm talking about myself.
I know. I'm fucking with you, bro. I'm messing with your ass.
So, Bolts. Metal Gear
Bolts.
Solid.
What,
is
man?
coming soon.
Okay.
And from... Fuck you. From what it seems, this might be one of those things that's kind of like the Dead Space remaster or remake that showcases really what a remake is supposed to be. A full from the ground up revision of the game that showcases fantastic gameplay, brand new aesthetics, new gameplay controls, and much more. So Bolts, I know you're not a big Metal Gear Solid fan, but with the new style of gameplay to where you can actually play the game in third person over the shoulder mode and stuff like that, do you plan on checking this game out when it releases?
Most likely, if depending on what else is out at the time and stuff like that. Yeah, I will most likely get my hands on it at some point. It may not be right off the bat, but yes, at some point I'll end up playing it because Metal Gear is Metal Gear. It's one of those iconic franchises that whether it's a remake or a brand new game or it's old school, however, at some point you're gonna get your hands on it, you're gonna play it, and you're gonna want to play it. Snake is one of them characters that you just enjoy playing as. So yeah, at some point I'll definitely get my hands on it because as remakes go. If it's anything like the Dead Spaces and stuff like that and the Resident Evils, it'll be great, man. It'll be great. Yeah.
What about you, Toaster? As I said to Bolts, with it being a from the ground up remake, remaster, new third person camera settings, new gameplay controls, and of course, from what we see, visually stunning gameplay. Do you plan on checking out Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater when it releases?
Probably not when it releases. I never really got into the Metal Gear series. It was crazy to watch people play it, and I did have fun with Metal Gear on the PlayStation 1.
Yeah,
but it was just never something that was really high on my priority list. The game does look gorgeous. When it doesn't cost $70,
yeah,
I might think about it. Or if it comes to PlayStation Plus.
Hey, you never know. You never know. That would be a fantastic way of getting more PlayStation Plus subscribers.
Right. If you're going to try to compete against Xbox Live.
Bring the game to PlayStation Plus, Sony. I think Toaster just probably made y'all a lot of money with that decision. So send Toaster a lot of beer as payment.
No. I'll take money.
Okay. Fuck beer. Yeah.
I'll just use money to buy beer.
Yeah.
But
of course, I'm super excited about this release. I'm very excited that this game is going to have the features that it's going to have as well. Having updated gameplay controls and the fact, I've always loved the Metal Gear Solid series, but one thing that I did appreciate in Metal Gear Solid 5, though I did not overall like Metal Gear Solid 5 because I felt like it was rushed and there was a lot of bad things about it, things that were cut, a lot of storyline that just didn't feel right, I guess, because of the whole Kojima Konami thing that was going on at the time. It just didn't feel like it was a Metal Gear game to me.
Konami sucks.
Huh?
Konami sucks.
Well, and I think this is how I look at it.
The only reason I'm saying that is because of how bitter I am that fucking Symphony of the Night is still not on Nintendo Switch.
Well, this is the way I look at it with Konami. I'm going to tell you this. Konami, I feel like came out of the like late 90s, early 2000s of like way too big headed, because like all their games were super, big hits. Metal Gear was huge, Castlevania was huge. They had Lords of Shadows 1 and 2, which 2 was just not good to me. But they just got really big headed, I think. And then the whole Konami situation and Kojima situation went down. And I think they kind of lost grip of what made Konami great. And it's not the fact of like, pachinko games and all this other stuff. It was the stories that Konami was selling with Silent Hill, with Castlevania, with Metal Gear, even going as far as, games like Pac-Man, and all these other things that have been in those areas that they've helped make or helped kind of push over the years. Konami is a great company that's done a lot of really great games, but with the whole Kojima thing, it did leave a really bad taste in my mouth for the longest time.
Like the Metal Gear story has gotten.
I agree.
Fucking weird.
Listen, I super agree. There was like when I played Metal Gear Solid 1 for the first time.
Is this game going to be Snake, or is it Snake Jr. or Snake Jr.'s second cousin from university who happens to also be a clone of Big Boss, who just happens to be Snake Eater's roommate's sister, who also saw Silence at a bar the other day? Where
you done?
I mean, I could keep going.
Listen, bud. Okay. I'm going to tell you, my fanboy almost came out whenever I went down like this. I was like, it's not that. It's called the Lolly Lulelo. Okay. In my head, I was like, listen, brother.
You motherfucker.
Listen. You're saying it wrong. That wasn't Snake.
Oh,
okay, that was his clone, and that was his body double. All right. So
speaking of weird storyline games, and I am sorry, but there is a game that I forgot to mention that I was playing earlier when we were talking about what we've been playing. I played Call of Cthulhu.
Oh,
Call of Cthulhu, really?
Yeah, the old Xbox 360 game.
I was going to say I've never played that game at all.
It was on Games Pass, so I figured, I'm a big fan of. I mean, we've talked about. I am a very big fan of the mythos that H.P. Lovecraft created, not the person H.P. Lovecraft was. Like that whole universe has always intrigued me. So the game was free, and I downloaded it. It's a fucking pain in the ass to play it on the Series X, though.
Yeah,
because you have to bring the latency down to like 50 to 20 milliseconds, because if not, it's like it starts to stutter when you walk. It's really weird. But yeah, anyway,
but you liked it? I mean, you had fun with it?
I finished it.
It was okay.
And I got, I think, the best ending I could possibly get. Which is still not a great ending at all. But yeah, no, it was interesting. It was like, it wasn't a whole lot of combat. It was a lot of investigating, taking in your surroundings. I'm sure if I played through it again and like favored certain, like I went investigation and like secrets, so like I got a little bit more of the backstory and stuff, but it was interesting. And now there's like a whole like strategy Cthulhu game that got announced at Gamescom too.
A strategy?
Yeah, it's like Cult of Cthulhu or something.
Like kind of like
Cult
of the Lamb
was a Cthulhu game.
Okay, so
sorry, I know that was completely random.
No, not at all.
Worshippers of Cthulhu. Or somewhere, there's probably somebody dwelling deep in a murky, stanky basement, freaking out about the way I'm pronouncing Cthulhu.
Well, let me say this real quick before we move on to our next topic.
Caliphal?
Since you said it, since you brought it up, I have to just get this off my chest because it's on my brain. There was only fucking 4 clones of Big Boss, okay?
Oh, dear
so
God.
get it right. The guy that was in Metal Gear Solid 5 was just a body double, okay?
Oh,
and for
okay.
some reason in Metal Gear Acid,
So
there
wait,
was a
they made a game about the dude stunt double.
No, hold up. He was a body double. We got his face changed to look like Snake
Okay,
because
Nick
Big
Cage.
Boss was big. Naked Snake was in trouble. Okay, there was
naked.
Liquid Snake, Solid Snake, Solidus, and then there was Snake, which Snake was a clone from Metal Gear Acid, and it was super weird. It was just a clone of Solid Snake.
Listen, it sounds like a soap opera.
Listen, it is. It's a political soap opera. I'm going to tell you that.
I mean, if you really think about it, dude, all of the games that we play and love are fucking soap operas.
They are. And speaking of soap operas, PlayStation's rumored to be paying very close attention to the handheld market. A reliable source has indicated that Sony is closely monitoring the current handheld game console space, with a possibility of a new PlayStation handheld console coming out in the future. This is sourced by Game Rant, and it states here, a reliable source has indicated that Sony is closely monitoring the current handheld gaming console space, possibly for a new PlayStation portable console in the future. After the discontinuation of the commercially unsuccessful PlayStation Vita in 2019, Sony has largely distanced itself from a dedicated handheld console market for several years.
Great handheld system.
It was such a good fucking Thank you, Bolts. My God. I'm glad you said that. Listen,
it's so dumb that people didn't like it. I don't understand.
It made no sense. It was one of the only handheld game systems that had fucking up to like PlayStation 2, sometimes PlayStation 3 graphics. You know, like the Uncharted game that came out for PlayStation Vita, it was stellar. It was so good. And then they came out with all these other fucking games for it that sometimes I will say some of those PlayStation Vita games that came out were very subpar, like the Mortal Kombat 9 for PlayStation Vita. It was horrible. I mean, dude, it was really, really bad.
But then you had worse than Mortal Kombat 1 on the Switch?
It was pretty much worse. Yeah, I will say that. Yeah. But then you had some games come out that were stellar looking games. I mean, you had you remember Street Fighter versus Tekken? I don't know why, but it's been like wiped off the fucking internet. You can't find any copies of the game for sale anywhere. But I really love that concept by Capcom because the Street Fighter characters, like when you played with them with the Street Fighter like button scheme. But if you played with the Tekken character, you could change it to that. And then there was supposed to be a Tekken versus Street Fighter to where the Street Fighter characters were more based around the visuals of Tekken. But then I guess it all got scrapped. I don't know.
Sony, it's pretty bold of them to start paying attention to the handheld market right now. I mean, you've got fierce competition going on with the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
You know, not only that, but as computers get more and more powerful, the ability for them to like shrink components. I mean, we already saw a couple of instances of back at, I think, what was it, the first or second PAX that I was at, where freaking that one Zotac was showing off that, like, you know, Android-sized gaming rig that was running Watch Dogs pretty okay on something, you know, that was the size of like just a brick and not like a, you know. So I mean, and on top of that, now that Sony has started porting more and more of their big hits to PC, like, you know, and then you have companies like Asus that are getting into the handheld market now and putting in like NVIDIA chips and that kind of shit into, you know, these handheld consoles, and they're only going to get more and more powerful as PC companies and manufacturing firms realize that you can shrink these, you know, these chips. I mean, yeah. I mean,
listen, I could see it. I could see Sony coming out with a handheld console that is more like something like a Steam Deck, you know,
the only enemy they have to work the hardest against is going to be heat.
Yeah, that's very true. And what's their latest handheld that came out? What is that called? That shows you how out of the loop I am about that.
But the Steam Deck?
No.
The Steam Deck's solid, Mark. You can
The PlayStation Portal. So it's like that remote player for PS5.
It's like a streaming tablet, basically.
It's like a streaming tablet they brought out.
So, a couple of gaming.
Exactly. So that's what I'm getting at. Is I think they put that out as like a test to kind of see what the market would be. Because like right now, I mean that thing you could pick it up for like $199 at like
you
at
can
Walmart,
get a Steam Deck for like $100 more.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is like if you don't, like if there's somebody that does not play Steam games or something and they're a big PlayStation fan, I think that's the reason why they put it out, is to kind of test the waters on how their fan base would take another handheld console. And kind of like what you said, I think with their games kind of porting over to PC and stuff, I think that we could definitely see them going into that market. Bolts, with you being more on the Xbox side, do you feel that eventually we're going to see Xbox
God, I hope
move
not.
into that?
No, I hope not. Listen. We have problems trying to do shit for our consoles. They ain't got time. They ain't got time to be fucking around with no handheld shit.
Yeah.
And listen. And handhelds are great. They're awesome. They're fabulous, and I'm great. But everything is. It's either a PC, a console, or it's your phone. I think handhelds are slowly losing muster. But you get the Steam Deck, who of course is not surprisingly, but doing extremely well.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things that, why would you need a handheld? Yes, you can take your game anywhere, but I mean, you get your phone in your hand, and phones are only getting more and more powerful, especially if you go buy one of those gaming phones. Asus, and all them people are starting to create their own gaming phones that can produce some high quality games on your phone. So
Yeah.
you have a handheld gaming system in your hand 24/7. So
I think the problem with that though is the phone screens are too small.
I mean, 100%, but it's still there. It's available in your hands 24/7. You're never going to put it down. It's always there.
I mean, for me, like the biggest thing, my problem with a high-powered handheld is the battery life.
100, dude.
One of the things, and I think I joked with Caleb about this in the past. I used to shit all over the Nintendo Switch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I made fun of it to no end. I still make fun of Nintendo because I cannot believe a company has survived this long on the back of a small Italian plumber, a giant gorilla, and a pink thing that eats stuff.
Yeah.
And then freaking Nintendo pulled the ultimate coup and was like Marvel Ultimate Alliance, which is like one of my favorite just beat 'em up Marvel games ever. And they're like, it's a Switch exclusive. I was like, the fuck you say?
What?
So then I got a Switch, and it wasn't playing. What sealed the deal for me was laying in my bed and playing Final Fantasy VII on this like handheld, and like that. And I mean, the thing with the Steam Deck is, and that's Microsoft to a point, they've already got one in the Steam Deck because 90% of the Games Pass titles are available on PC too.
Yep.
So I just, I think as they get make them smaller, because I mean, ripping out my Switch on a plane flight is awesome.
Oh yeah, it is.
And I think there is a market for it because you can't logistically throw up a gaming laptop on a plane. Unless you're like rocking like a 13-inch Acer or whatever, and then if you plug that in, you run the risk of draining the plane's battery and crashing.
We used to think about bringing our games case on a plane. Fucking
excuse me.
I'm gonna play some fucking Xbox while I'm on this plane. I agree with both y'all though. I think Mark Stevenson said that he's surprised that Xbox hasn't moved into the VR market yet. I'm not really surprised that Xbox hasn't moved into the VR market yet because I think Xbox knows, Meta kind of has that fucking shit cinched up, bro. I mean, I really do. I mean, the Meta Quest is such a great VR headset. I mean, you can do so much with it. It's crazy. But also don't forget too, there's a lot of these handhelds now that the big thing in the handheld market too, outside of the Switch and the Steam Deck and stuff, is some of these like TikTok handhelds that are going, viral. Like I got that one, Bolts. I can't even remember the name of it, but it's got like 6,000 classic games on it.
Yeah, I know what you're
How
talking
is
about.
that
Yeah.
not to take down notice?
Listen, supposedly it's all the games that they have on there are games that had their trademarks or whatever that have just gone dead. So I guess that's the reason why they haven't had it taken down yet. But like they have one on there now that's like $299, and you could play like PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 games, all kinds of shit. And I'm like, there ain't no way. So I was like watching a video, and this guy is literally like, this is the shit that I got from the TikTok shop. He was playing Gears of War on this fucking handheld. And I'm like, all right, that's pretty fucking sick. But at the same time, like, how are these developers and companies not being like, hey, you stole all that shit? You're buying these
Right.
versions of this shit, and it has these SD cards that has anywhere between, like the one that I got on TikTok, it was being promoted by TikTok and by some of their biggest influencers, and it has like 25,000 games on it. I think a bunch of them, I will say, they don't work. But like on, you could play games like God of War and, Godfall and all these different games, Red Dead Redemption, or Red Dead Revolver, all these different games and shit. And you're like, how the fuck is this possible, bro? Like, how are they selling this and not being shut down constantly? Because I mean, these things have been selling for like 2 to 3 years now.
Yeah.
But with that being said, to kind of get back on topic, I think kind of like what Bolt said and you said, Toaster, I think these companies know their place in that perspective. Like they know it would be like Microsoft knows they're not going to get into the VR market and handheld market because, like, for instance, Nintendo's got that shit sewed up. Sony has, of course, dipped into the handheld market before. And I think Sony wants to do it because they believe that they can make a lot of sales in like Asian countries in Asia for the handheld market, because the handheld market in Asia is huge, and they know that they could sell it there as well as sell it in the States. But one of the biggest handhelds out there across the globe is the Nintendo Switch, dude. So I just don't really see how people can compete with it, especially if a new Switch comes out next year.
First Switch to get Symphony of the Night.
Or like,
first handheld to get
it.
Symphony of the Night, I'm buying it.
Not a question. No way, fans or buts.
Why did you spend $6,000? Symphony of the Night.
Yeah.
It's such a cool Castlevania game.
Yeah, see, like Mark Stevenson says, I have a Hyperspin 12 terabyte handheld with PSP and the Vita on it. So it's just like these things are out there. It's not that they're not out there.
We like
Yeah. So speaking of nostalgia, someone is making a Mars Attacks video game. A video game studio in 2024 has announced that it is making a video game based on Mars Attacks. So if you don't know what Mars Attacks is, and some of you probably don't know what Mars Attacks is, Mars Attacks is a movie that came out back in the day by Tim Burton.
So good.
Back in 1996, and it's one of my favorite movies of all time.
A movie from the 1900s.
From the 1900s.
From the 1900s.
The old country.
Listen, the think about it like this, okay? Pierce Brosnan is in the movie. Jack Nicholson is the president. I mean, the movie is just wild, dude, from start to finish. It is. If you get a chance to go and watch it, it's hilarious, and it's a really, really fun movie. But they're making a video game based on, I guess, based on the universe or the something that just has to do with Mars Attacks, and it's called Mars Attracts. So this game is, of course, going to be somewhat different from the movie. And with this, you're going to have the ability of controlling some type of attraction theme park that is based on Mars and run by these aliens. And all the humans are shrunk down and put into this place by the aliens. So it looks very unique and very crazy. My God, man. So it looks crazy. You get to build parks and stuff like that. I mean, it's not like
roller coaster tycoon just with aliens.
Yeah, exactly. Just as long as the game has the same sense of humor as the movie.
Our chat room resident pointed out another very important person in Mars Attacks that you did not speak of.
Tom
motherfucking Jones.
Tom Jones was in that movie.
It was good job, Mark. To be loved by anyone.
I think Tom Jones was everybody who hears Tom Jones' name. That's like the first song that goes.
Yes, it is.
To be loved.
My God, Tom Jones, man. It's really crazy that the dude is the age he is, and he still sounds impeccable. That's what's crazy. He was on the Voice Europe or something like that, and he sounded like he was singing the song, and I was like, holy shit, he's like fucking 80, dude. He looks like he's maybe 60. It's nuts. But yeah, so I think just as long as they stay to the same exact sense of humor of Mars Attacks in that game and have some craziness or whatever happen, I think it could be something pretty special. But that's more or less just kind of a quick hit topic. The next topic, the next topic is something that I definitely want to talk about and kind of get the thoughts around the room. Indiana Jones is out this December, and it is officially coming to PlayStation 5 in spring of 2025. Indiana Jones got an official release date of December 9th for Xbox and PC at Gamescom Opening Night Live, but it's also been officially announced that the game is coming to PlayStation 5 in spring of 2025. So,
because
guys,
Microsoft isn't fucking stupid.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. So, guys, with this announcement, this is a huge announcement. Of course, first off, the fact that, yes, we are getting Indiana Jones this year. We're not going to have to wait till next year. So I'm very excited about that. But we also got the big announcement that it is coming to PlayStation 5. So, Toaster, we're going to start with you. With this, is it the fact that Microsoft is just not dumb and they know that this is going to be a moneymaker for them? Or is it the fact that they're not dumb and they're like, we're kind of getting out of the realm of exclusives unless it's just some mega game? So what do you think?
I think it's a little column A and a little column B. I think them buying a studio like Bethesda and then locking Bethesda's games down to one console or one particular brand, that is just an exceptionally shitty thing to fucking do.
Yeah,
like it is. I mean, even business sense wise, it makes perfect business sense on paper. But do you understand the amount of fans you would alienate? It's just not worth it to exclude, especially something like this. And I think it's also kind of their way of, you couldn't put the cat back in the bag. Yeah. I mean, there's no way that this game wasn't in development when they bought Bethesda.
Yeah.
Like at least early alpha development.
I'm pretty sure it was pretty far in development when they did buy.
So, what are you going to do? Like, tell an entire team that's been working on this for the PlayStation to fuck off? I mean, yeah. What I would find absolutely just batshit hilarious is if the usual graphics parody showed up.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the Series X and the PlayStation 5 look beautiful. They both do. But
it's going.
I will say the PS5 ekes out a little bit of a graphic of a little bit more fidelity than The Xbox does.
Yeah.
You know,
We're going to see Digital Foundry do it for sure. I'm just telling you now. Like when the game comes out for PlayStation, they're going to compare it. And you're going to see a difference, I'm sure. But at the same time, I agree with you that, yes, I think it is a kind of column A and column B. I think it's the fact that, yes, they're like, okay, listen, this game is a well-known game by not just Bethesda fans, but many other fans. And there's probably some people that are not maybe not familiar with Indiana Jones. So we're going to make it available on Game Pass, but also we're going to make it available on other consoles. So those fans that are big fans of Indiana Jones can experience that on PlayStation, and it could make us some money. What about you, Bolts?
So
Indiana,
so Indiana Jones will be sold strictly because it's Indiana Jones. Because in all reality, if you want to play Indiana Jones game, just play Uncharted. So with that being said, just saying.
There is four of them. There is 4 Indiana Jones.
I would just like to point out to the youngins on the podcast that if there was no Indiana Jones, there would be no Nathan Drake.
Very true. 100%. 100%.
And we would never get to see Mark Wahlberg with a mustache.
Wahlberg with the mustache.
It's awful.
But as far as it going to the PlayStation, it's business savvy. It's the smart thing to do.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't know why it's taking them so long to put Starfield on PlayStation. I don't know why it's taking so long. You're not going to see games like, of course, like Halo, Gears of War. I really don't see Fable whenever it finally gets out there to be put on Xbox. On the PlayStation. But all these other third-party games that are so exclusive, they don't need to be, and they shouldn't be by any means. You can hold on to your pride and joy, which of course are your Halos and Gears and stuff like that. But all these other games that you say are exclusive, they don't need to be exclusive. They can be a time release exclusive if that's what you feel like. But Microsoft is not in a position to just have exclusives because they can't sell their consoles. They don't have enough consoles out there in the open to just have exclusives and be like, buy our games. No, you just can't do that because you're going to lose money that way.
What happens if they treat Indiana Jones on the PlayStation like Bethesda treated PlayStation with Elder Scrolls? How long did Elder Scrolls stay bugged on the PlayStation 4?
It was a while, I will say.
That's a pretty good point out there, Toast. Yeah, for sure. Hey, you can play Indiana Jones, but it's going to be shit.
Like every month, it was like PlayStation fans playing by new bug in Bethesda's Elder Scroll. Xbox players are like, I don't know what you're fucking talking about. Runs fine for me.
But no. In the long run, business savvy move for them to put that, because like I said, it's going to sell a ton, especially from our generation and older, that it's going to sell because of the name itself.
I agree with that 100%, Bolts. I think you hit the nail on the head. It is business savvy. I think that Indiana Jones, as a household name, even though it has been out for as long as it has, and some people may or may not have watched other movies, with it still being relevant and just recently having movie at the theaters and all this other stuff, and it having Harrison Ford, his big new character is in Captain America, what is it, Brave New World? Yep. I think playing the Red Hulk. What? Don't say that.
Well, to anybody who doesn't read comics, spoilers.
Yeah, Spoiler alert.
I think that this game is going to be a really great title, hopefully for Bethesda, and I think there's a very big possibility that if it is a good title, we could see Bethesda come out with another Indiana Jones game in the long run.
I think too another thing is, I mean, if you really take a look at it, exclusivity is dying.
Yeah.
You know,
It
like
needs to die. It needs
it
to
does.
go away.
You know, I mean, it was cool during, you know, when there was actual, you know, group, you know, each Sony and Microsoft had, you know, some really good exclusive titles. But then, you know, like Mass Effect got released on the PlayStation 4. And I still fuck all of you who think you played Mass Effect 1 on the PlayStation because you went through a motion comic. Fuck off.
Yeah.
You know, you don't play that game unless you have to choose between Lonely Space Paladin Boy and Space Racist Lady.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%.
You know, like, I mean, at this point, at least in my mind, you know, I know there's some other exclusive, but the two heavy hitters right now in the exclusivity fight are Master Chief and Kratos. And guess what? You can play both of those on PC. So, like, you know, I mean,
just do it. Okay? Just do it. Just get a PC. I have a PC.
I'm just pointing out, like, there's like the fact that you can play, you know, what used to be these console exclusive titles on a PC now too.
Well, and you know, listen, I made the decision recently to get rid of my Xbox. There's not a reason for me to have it. I have a 4K Amazon Fire Stick at the house in my living room. I literally can connect my controller to that and play Xbox Game Pass. I can play
old school, man. I can't do the I can't do the cloud streaming.
I can play Game Pass on my PC. There's not a reason for me to have a console, dude. Like, there's not. And with Microsoft moving to this new path ahead of, I'm telling you guys, I'm calling it right now. Watch this episode in like 3 years. That's what they're moving to. Xbox in the next like 3 to 5 years will be a streaming game company. I don't see that's going to be their main thing. Yes, they'll still come out with consoles, but their main thing is getting Xbox everywhere. I'm telling you, I wish you guys could have been at Summer Games Fest to see it because it was nuts. Like, seeing them it was 100-inch Samsung television that had the Xbox app already available on it, and they connected to it, and they were like, bro, instantaneous, no latency. Like,
right, but you have to think that they were in a Metro center.
Of course.
Using Metro Ethernet, which is like top rated, and also it's a venue in LA with a show being put on by Microsoft.
I 100% agree.
Like, Microsoft
whenever I came home,
like, just, I'm gonna have a brand new fiber trunk bringing in a terabyte per second here.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah. I agree.
Like, you got to think about, like, Microsoft, all of their shit is running everybody else's shit. Like, it's AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud platforms. You know, that's all. Like, if you're living in the city, especially if you're living close to a Metro E node, that's awesome for you. You're going to have amazing speeds. You're going to have barely any latency, and you could stream whatever the fuck you want on your TV. But the further away you move from that central metropolitan hub, the more you're going to get jitter, the more you're going to, like, there are so many things with the network connection that's required to stream at a high fidelity that they're going to have to take into consideration. You're going to notice frame rate skips. You're going to notice, with World of Warcraft is designed to run on anything. But the minute my latency gets up over 100, things start to get a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if you don't have reliable fiber in your area, or God forbid you're with Spectrum, or you're like, you need to have, concentric down up. They have to be the same speeds. They have to be consistent. You're pumping, and especially people that are wanting to game it like 4K.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a lot of bandwidth to be pumping through. I mean, so I think I agree that is where they want to go, but I think it's going to take them a lot longer than people think it's going to take them, based on the infrastructure that's available to them now.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and in some ways, that'd be a huge thing to get people access to high-speed internet that doesn't have it. Microsoft can be like, these people want to pay us money.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need to give them what they need to get so they can pay us money.
Yeah.
Because we're Microsoft and we said so.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you this,
I'll
I
shut
just
you
think
all down.
that's what they're moving to.
Dude, supposedly the
you know,
U.S. Navy still pays a very high ransom to Microsoft to continue to support Windows XP.
for some reason. Well, XP was a good system though. I like
Go
Windows
America.
But anyways, I think that's what they're moving to. I mean, and coming from somebody that does live technically in a rural area, we have fiber in the town that I live in now, and mine.
How long did it take you to get you that? Though?
It took a while, but now it's
and then when
extremely
it went down,
available.
How long did it take for them to restore your service for you?
I've had it since they've got here. Which Bolts, when did I get fiber? When was that?
What was the whole
year and a
railroad
half, 2
incident
years
you
ago?
ran into?
That was like 2 years ago. That was a different internet company.
Oh,
You talking about? Yeah, that was a completely different internet company. So, what happened with that is squirrels chewed up the lines in the very back of the woods, and they couldn't find it for 6 months. That's how bad that internet company was. But when East Texas,
it's funny. I have no issues with Zito.
listen, but
I live further. I live further out of town than you do.
You do. But mind you, when I had it, it was like, dude, the people were like, we don't know what's wrong. And then this one guy that came down from Dallas, it was like, looked at the other, I remember standing out there on the front porch, and this is like month 6 with no internet. And the guy looked at the other guy and he was like, have y'all looked at this line at all? And the guy's like, what line? He was like, this line right here. And he goes, no, that's not a line that goes to it. He said, that's the main line. And the guy was like, what? No, that's not it. He's like, yes, it is. And they went to the back and the guy was like, look, show me the wire. It's all chewed the fuck up. He was like, squirrels chewed your wire up. I'm like, you're telling me for 6 months I've been without internet because of one fucking wire? I was like, I'm done, bro. And right whenever East Texas Broadband came in, I got them. They drilled the shit into my house, put it into my front yard and all that. I mean, I just did a speed test and I'm sitting at 419 download with 397 upload with a ping of 7. So most of the times that's pretty 100% consistent with fiber. Now, mind you, I pay like $140 a month for internet, but $140 a month to have something to where I could literally download a game. Like I downloaded Black Myth Wukong, Star Wars Outlaws, and all these other games. 50 to 60 to 70 gigabyte games within an hour. So shut up, Toaster. Okay, this is East Texas that we're talking about. He said he pays $80 a month for 1,000 on 1,000. But I'm just stating the area that we have. So but what I'm getting at is when I did come back from Summer Game Fest, the first thing that I did is try Game Pass on my Fire Stick, and I was shocked. I was like, holy fuck. There was no latency. The gameplay looked great. Everything was smooth. I mean, it easily connected to my Xbox controller without a hitch. Like, it just automatically connected. And I was really honestly shocked. And I was like, holy fuck. So this is what they're planning on doing. And literally the next day they announced that this was going to be a big push that they're going to be making. So I'm excited about it. And though at the same time, it is somewhat worrisome because kind of like what y'all said, the physical aspect of games is going away. And, what happens whenever you don't have internet, if you have an Xbox, you don't have an Xbox. If you have a 4K Fire Stick Xbox set up, then you don't have an Xbox. If you have no internet connection or no power. Anyways, moving on from that real quick, and then we're going to let Toaster stand up on his soapbox and talk about the WoW expansion. Call of Duty Next Showcase is happening tomorrow and will feature Black Ops 6 multiplayer, zombies, Warzone, and more. So what will be showcased tomorrow at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is a multiplayer live gameplay, beta map showcase, game feature deep dive with Treyarch developers, then Black Ops 6 Zombie Mode. They will showcase a Liberty Falls gameplay trailer, live gameplay, game features, and map deep dives with the development studio. Area 99, which is a new map for Call of Duty Warzone with live gameplay that will be showcased. And then they will have a Call of Duty mobile rundown. 5 years of Call of Duty mobile, Call of Duty Warzone mobile, and new feature previews. So, Bolts, as somebody that does play Call of Duty, I am excited for Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and what this game will possibly have. I'm more excited about the return of round-based zombies. Is there a certain feature that you are excited for with Black Ops 6?
I mean, not necessarily. Just bring out a game that improves on some of the good things, and and going back to zombies, the round-based zombies was always gold, has always been gold. I'm glad they tried something new, something different, but round-based zombies is where it's at. It'll always be the way it's at, and then that's the way it needs to be. It's one of those things. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yep.
But Call of Duty Black Ops, the game itself, just improve on some of the good things around. I'm sure it's still going to be, it's going to be a Call of Duty online multiplayer game, and that's what it's going to be. So, it'll bring the good stuff. It'll be, there'll be parts of it that are bad. Depending on how the new movement is going to work and stuff like that. Spam movements and stuff like that. So we'll see. But it'll be something that most of everybody in the world will pick up and play regardless of the situation. So,
yeah, especially with it coming to Game Pass day one. So I think that's going to be one of the biggest factors with it. Listen, the biggest thing that me and Bolts want for Call of Duty multiplayer, just bring Prop Hunt to us, please. Like, my God. I mean, Prop Hunt in World War II was so good, man. And for some reason, one of the big features of this upcoming Call of Duty is that you can dolphin dive out of the water. So we'll see how that goes. Toaster, I know you're not a real big fan of Call of Duty, but are you excited at all for this Call of Duty?
No.
Okay. So
I mean, I'll play it because it's on Game Pass probably, but that's the only reason why.
Okay. Well, as you guys know, I am excited. I'm very excited to get into some round-based zombies. But now we're going to give the mic to Toaster and let him talk about the WoW expansion that launched with minimal service issues. So, Toaster, the new WoW expansion, The War Within, has launched, and from what you say, with minimal service issues.
there was a hiccup last night. That was about it. So for folks that ordered the Heroic Edition, because, well, we're suckers, and game studios have figured out that we'll pay more money to access a game a few days earlier than everybody else.
Yeah.
So it launched for those that picked up the Heroic Edition on August 22nd, and then at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then the full game went live yesterday for the rest of the world at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can do your own math to find your own time zone. It was, the 6 o'clock hour rolled around, and, I was kind of like having like a mini Azeroth Y2K. I was just like, oh, and then it stayed stable. And then right about like 7 o'clock, they're about 7:30. I don't know. Yeah, it's like 7:30. There was a brief server hiccup. There was some authentication server issues that were hindering logins and sometimes failing outright. But those were resolved relatively quickly for their usual type of server issues at Blizzard, and the game continued. Which honestly, I'm kind of impressed. It's only taken, I don't know, 12 years for a game studio to figure out, hey, maybe we should boost some stuff before we go throw the switches wide open. But so far it's a lot of fun. It's the story is very engaging. The zones are amazing. It's very much like a Kong Inner Earth type thing. And I will be getting up impressions thus far over the
Somewhat
weekend over at Cinelinks.com. So you
It
can
makes
check
me
that out
cry,
for
man.
what?
Makes me cry. My boys on Cinelink. So proud of you, man.
Just don't make me write for the Chick-fil-A streaming service.
It's happening. Okay, you're gonna fucking review that shit.
They'll never talk to us again.
Toaster said it perfect, or I think it was Jordan. Maybe Jordan was like, "No streaming on Sundays." I was like, "Yes." Oh man, fucking Chick-fil-A streaming service.
Hey, it's Scott Bio, Kevin Sorbo, and Kirk Cameron need a home, man.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no. So yeah, I'll be writing about that off of the site. Do you want me to just keep going with the Blizzard news? That is such an extreme close-up of your eyes, Bolts. They're just so dreamy. Perfectly manicured eyebrows. Look at that, everybody. So Gamescom, there was a lot of news. And as Cinelinks' resident Blizzard fanboy, I was paying attention to the Diablo stuff because I'm all about the Diablo right now. And they announced that they're bringing back the mercenaries. We started having those friends in Diablo 2, and then we got them in Diablo 3, where I learned that running around as the Crusader class with the Templar was just steamroll left and right. Like people getting destroyed all over the place.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a group. They're called the Pale Hand. You're gonna run into them and meet the members as you progress through the Vessel of Hatred expansion. Each of them has their own skill tree, and of course you can customize that to like your character's playstyle as well. So you can like really just do like a synergy type setup with your companion. So there's you got the Shield Guard. You have a old barbarian crone lady who I'm sure she's probably around when Mount Ararat fell, so she probably has some tails. You also got like a scoundrel type drunkard character, archer guy, and a magic kid that turns into a demon. Because all children are demons.
All children are demons. I agree.
That's what we do.
It's like you want to scare people, just introduce a small British child into a horror movie, and everybody's going to be shitting themselves.
Oh,
you're going to die down here. Like, no, get out.
Fucking Resident Evil. Is that what you just?
Yeah.
You're all going to die down here.
And not only did we get the announcement of the mercenary pack, but they introduced some of the new areas you're going to be seeing, which they look great.
And this is in Diablo 4.
Vessel of Hatred, the DLC.
Diablo 4.
But the big announcement was they're actually introducing a co-op PvE dungeon, an endgame dungeon. So all 5 of the Diablo 4 players that don't play World of Warcraft can now realize what it's like to have to deal with a group of people you've never spoken to or talked to in your life, dealing with traps, mechanisms, and mechanics. Welcome to the club, guys.
See, so you're pretty excited about this.
I am. Diablo 4 initially, I was kind of like, what are you guys doing? It was cool. But once you finish the story, that was it. Like the end game didn't really have much, man.
Yeah.
And then Blizzard listened, which was impressive to begin with, that they even listened. But they really listened, and Rod Steiger and his team really turned the game around. It became fun to play. I think one thing was the filter they introduced that improved on the dreariness of the graphics. So and then like kind of giving it more of a Diablo 3 look, just with the higher graphic resolution of the game. Mm-hmm. But then introducing the mechanics, the tides, and really bringing back the reason you played Diablo, and that was to see what the fuck the next enemy was going to drop.
Yeah.
The only thing I would really love to see them is to get rid of the Torment 4 cap. Mm-hmm. Some people were complaining about power creep and stuff like that on Reddit, but I think that's really what made Diablo 3 and still makes Diablo 3 so fun, is the challenge of like how high on this torment level am I willing to subject myself to before it becomes just a grind.
Yeah.
But yeah, the things they're introducing with Vessel of Hatred, it looks like they're really paying attention and really want to make Diablo 4 the game that should be in the Diablo franchise.
Yeah.
Every single one of the games has been amazing. And I think Diablo 3 obviously had a breath of fresh life just blown in his face like a turbine engine through the console release.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
I think that was probably one of the smartest things Blizzard had done in a long time, because that game just played amazingly on the console.
I agree.
And I think this was like they're trying to appease the PC crowd, but also keep it, friendly on the console and stuff too, like the cross-platform play. It's just, I think they're really trying to make it the best game they possibly can. So in Vessel of Hatred, I think with all the things they're introducing, the PvE dungeon, the challenge area, I can't remember the name of it off. It's like the Cathedral of Katha or something like that. It's like, and then you have the seasons and the new class that we're getting. So yeah, it's dropping.
From what I'm seeing in this video too, it does look a lot more impressive. It looks like, it's not that it didn't look impressive before. It's kind of like what you said, that that filter that they did have on, it was just really dreary.
Yeah, it was just like, you can be a dark game without having to have dark graphics. Look at Kingdoms of Amalur.
Yeah,
that the graphics on that game were bright and the colors were vibrant.
We don't want everything to look like a Zack Snyder film.
Right.
So,
it's gray. Okay.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Bro, have you seen those TikToks of like Catman? But they're people that are build like 3D printing Batman helmets for their cats.
Oh God.
And, like putting it over their ears. And there's an audio bit to where they put it on there. And like this one cat's looking down like this and looks up. And then the audio is like, meow, meow. Meow, 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 meow. I lost it, man.
I will say this. I watched the Snyder Cut. The 4-hour long Snyder Cut. And I was like, you know what? I'll watch it. It's the Snyder Cut. I'll get up and take a break or something. No. I actually sat there and watched that entire movie start to finish. And what's his face? The Buffy dude. The guy that took over for Zack Snyder when he had to step away for the family issue.
Oh, I can't remember his name, but
he also did Avengers.
Yes, but like, I don't know.
To see what he did to the story with Cyborg, like, dude, I think you might need to go talk to somebody about some,
that's Zack Snyder Cut. It added so fucking much.
Yeah.
Like, whenever I sat there, I was like, damn, this bitch is 4 hours long. Like, holy shit. It's a long-ass movie. But lastly, before we end the show, I just want to say I saw Alien Romulus, and holy fuck, oh my God. Such a good fucking movie. Ripley, baby. Oh, man. Wow. Such a great fucking film, dude.
All right, so this is the only reason I haven't gone to see it yet. How bad is the gore?
The gore's not actually bad at all. If anything, it actually feels more close to the classic Alien film. Like, there really was not that much gore in the movie.
All Evil Dead levels.
No, bro, no.
That's like the only like, I can handle the chest burster coming out of the stomach. I don't mind that. And my stomach board's a little bit higher in a sci-fi flick than it is like in a horror flick.
Yeah.
But
let's say this
is the dude that shows the freaking lady in the evil. Like, this is the guy that directed the lady just slitting her tongue in half with no.
Now, hear me out. So, like, did you see Alien Covenant? Did you watch that?
No, the last one I saw was Prometheus.
Okay, so Covenant is the connection to Prometheus, and Covenant was fucked. Like, when we talk about gore in a movie, there's some scenes, like, I watched Covenant before going and seeing the movie, and I forgot how fucked that movie is when it comes down to some shit that happens to those people. But it just makes you like...
The thing where, like, the neomorph comes out of the dude's back.
Comes out of the dude's back. There's another neomorph that comes out of a motherfucking dude's mouth. And it like breaks his jaw and he's like, oh God, it's so bad, bro. It's so bad. But there's like there's
good.
some really
So
crazy
good.
shit in that movie. So I'm thinking, all right, this is a new Alien movie. This dude did Evil Dead. I'm gonna go ahead and get myself mentally ready for some crazy gore. And there really wasn't like barely any gore. Like when there was gore, it was classic gore.
It
was very
tamed
tamed down. It
was
felt
tamed
very
down.
much like the original, to where it was like, you see some chest bursting. But main thing about the movie that is great is the thriller aspect of the movie. Like there was some scenes that there's a scene, I'm not going to ruin it for you, but there's a scene at the end of the movie that made me actually like burst out loud, like the full fucking theater. I was like, nah, fuck that, bro. I mean, there is some wild scenes in that movie, but it was a really good movie. I'm telling you, I think you will really like it whenever you watch it. So
I just, I think the whole reason I got so just meh about the Ridley, I didn't really want to like run out to go see Covenant, was because I went to go see Prometheus with Dunny and a friend of ours. And the whole time leading up to fucking Prometheus, every single press event, every single interview, they were like, Ridley Scott, alien movies. Like, it's not an alien movie.
It's not
an
alien
movie. And then Naomi Rapace does the C-section on herself, and that thing comes out of her. And me,
and you're like,
Dunny, and our buddy, we all looked at each other and went, it's a fucking alien movie.
Yeah.
And that and the people involved in these movies, like, they need to, like, the right,
bro.
like, Alien and Aliens and Aliens 3, maybe, I don't know. The writing was okay. Alien and Aliens, the writing was fucking amazing. And granted, they're night and day movies. Like, James Cameron made a sci-fi flick that you felt like you knew some people were going to get fucked up, but they were going to get out of it alive. Alien, you're like, everybody gonna die.
Yeah.
You know? And then it just like the writing went off a cliff. Like, what kind of astroxenobiologist goes to an alien planet that no human has ever been to and sees an alien that no human has ever seen and goes, I'm gonna poke it in the face?
Listen, that's the one thing that I hated about Prometheus.
Like, that's why we have trait guns.
But also, that's the one thing I hated about Covenant too. So in Covenant, that somewhat happens too. Like they go to this fucking planet, and these guys see these little like mushroom ball things, and they bump into it, and shit flies up in the air. And this one guy's like, and like blows his smoke into it, and it starts spiraling. He's like, "Wow, you're a fucking scientist, bro, and you're telling me you just went to an alien planet, and this shit starts happening in front of you, and you're like, that's pretty." You get fucked later,
Or like, why are you landing on a planet and you don't have like full hazmat suit on?
Or you, like in Prometheus, you take your helmet off. You're like, everything's fine, breathable air.
Everything's awesome.
Yeah. Anyways, so this has been episode 366 of the Second Opinion Podcast. I love you guys so much. Thanks for tuning in. Check back next week. Sometime next week.
Yeah.
We're going to shoot for next week.
And don't forget tonight's moral of the podcast. Don't poke aliens in the face.
Don't fucking touch shit on a different planet. Don't touch it. What do you think, Bolts? We're going to shoot for next week?
I got next week. The only day I got is Monday. No. Hold on. I'm thinking. I don't remember.
We'll figure it out. We'll let you guys know. But make sure to check out Cinelinks.com very soon for my review of Gundam Breaker 4, for the full review of Star Wars Outlaws, and also make sure to check out Second Opinion and Cinelinks YouTube page soon for the gameplay of Disney Epic Mickey Rebrushed, the gameplay of Black Myth Wukong, and the gameplay of Star Wars Outlaws. So I love you guys so much, and thanks for watching the Second Opinion Podcast or listening. Peace out.
Laters.